On today's show, why is the game against the Pelicans on Wednesday night a must win for the LA Clippers, and how did other results in the NBA affect them going into this game? Going to be talking about it all on today's Locked On Clippers.
You are Locked On Clippers, your daily Los Angeles Clippers podcast, part of the Locked On Podcast Network. Your team every day.
Yes, sir. You were locking in with the Clips. Thank you for making Locked On Clippers the first listen of your day, your team every day. I'm your host, Darian Vaziri, born and raised in LA in my 20th season as a Clipper fan. Been covering the Clippers for 5 years on my own personal YouTube channel known as Dime Dropper, and 3 years right here on the Locked On Podcast Network for Locked On Clippers. Make sure to subscribe on YouTube to both Dime Dropper and Locked On Clippers. And of course, you can listen to Locked On Clips wherever you get your podcasts. In this episode, we're going to be talking about why this game against the Pelicans on Wednesday night is a must win. I'll be in attendance there, so looking forward to seeing people at the game. And then why some results on Tuesday night completely and drastically affected your LA Clippers. We're going to be talking about that and some of the scenarios as this season closes down, and a revisiting of the conversation in which I spoke about a little bit last episode. Derrick Jones Jr., Kris Dunn. Saw some people on Twitter talking about it as well. Who should start? So I'm going to be addressing that as well. But let's talk about this game tonight on Wednesday night. Hopefully you are ideally listening to this on the way to the game. I'll be there. I thought I was going to be there on Saturday, but I'm not going to be able to. It's the first weekend of our second rec bubble league in, the Palace, what would have been the Palisades rec happening in the spring, and I didn't want to miss the first weekend of game. But in the playoffs, I'll skip anything to be at those games. So playoffs playing, I'll be there. But yeah, this weekend, unfortunately not. So I will be there tonight, and it's the Pelicans. And as Clipper fans, we all know with the Pels, it seems like no matter what iteration of their team we're getting, no Ingram and Zion, no Zion, maybe just Zion, we just end up losing every single time. I should, by the way, also be at Tuesday and Wednesday. If Wednesday the 9th is going to be our last home game of the season, is going to be in a week. Oh my God, that scares me. But anyway, so the Pelicans game tonight, taking a look at it, I mean, this is a must win, an absolute must win. In terms of the injury report, no Jordan Miller, no Amir Coffey. Ben Simmons is active again. They don't have Jordan Hawkins, Brandon Boston. Would have been nice to see Brandon again. CJ McCollum, Zion Williamson, and Trey Murphy. So it's going to be a lot of probably They just won their last game against the Charlotte Hornets. I'm thinking this was their starting lineup. Yves Missy, Jose Alvarado, Bruce Brown, Kelly Olynyk, and Antonio Reeves, who was the second pick in this year's draft, or last year's draft, out of 47th pick in last year's draft out of Kentucky, picked by the Orlando Magic originally. I mean, if we lose to that team, I don't even know what to say. Like, legitimately don't know what to say. It's going to be a Jose Alvarado show. They don't even have Trey Murphy, for God's sake. If we cannot beat the Pelicans when we have everyone healthy and they're battered and broken like this, I mean, what else is there to say? Herb Jones is out for the season. Brandon Ingram's no longer on the team. Zion is Zion. He's playing at a very high level, but they shut him down for the season. So, what else is there to say? DeJounte Murray, torn Achilles tendon, out for the season. Herb Jones, shoulder surgery, out for the season. Trey Murphy, torn labrum. This is insane, the injuries that they've had this season. I mean, this is even worse than a Clippers season. It reminds me of Memphis last year. Zion back. Well, they just shut him down because there's no point. And then McCollum, kind of the same thing. So if we don't win this game and we don't win it comfortably, I don't know what to say. I think it's literally another game for Kawhi Leonard to have an efficient 30 in 29 minutes. Seriously. So no excuses. We have to have this game. We have to have this game. We just came back from this road trip, 3-1. We only have 5 home games left this season. And then, so it's a 5-game homestand, right? And then 2 games to end the season against the Golden State Warriors and the Sacramento Kings. So it's time right now to put the pedal to the metal, beat the Pelicans, Honestly, we should beat Dallas twice, but at least one of those games. We should beat Dallas twice. We're better than them. We should literally win like at least 5 of these last 7 games. Golden State on the road will be tough. Sacramento on the road won't be super easy, but I think we should still win that. Houston will be difficult because they're trying to get that second seed. But, I mean, we should win at least 5 of these last 7 games. That's my takeaway. This is a must win. We got to win at least 5 out of these last 7. If we have a 48-34 record, which would be the same record as we had in 2019, but we did not have the same amount of injuries that season. I think this team is definitely better than that one, but we did not have the same amount of injuries, and load management wasn't a league-wide concept back then. Although, for us, it hasn't really been a thing. I mean, Norman Powell and Kawhi have had real injuries. Zoo doesn't load manage, and then James Harden. I think maybe they each had one game where it was a precautionary rest, one game each, but that's it. You know, they've literally missed no games, essentially. So the 2019 team was great. This team is better. If we win 5 games, we're 48-34. If we win 6 games, 49-33. If we win all 7, we're a 50-win team. Don't think that's going to be the case. Don't think anybody expected us to be a 50-win team given the circumstances. Don't think anybody even expected us to be a 45-win team given the circumstances of not having Kawhi for the majority of the season. But here we are with an opportunity to do something great. We're playing really, really good basketball lately. Of course, I mean, 8 out of the last 10, not even. 11 out of the last 13, I think. No, sorry. 11 out of the last 14. So we're playing great basketball. 11 out of the last 14 games. Let's say you win 5 of those games out of the last 7. I mean, 16 wins out of the last 21 games of your season going into the playoffs. We should probably be in the playoffs given those, given that record if we can get that. But coming up, let's take a closer look at the playoff standings. Now that we're only 7 games away from the end, we got to take a look at standings watch. And some huge results affected us, and not in the right way, last night. Going to be talking about that coming up. I got to tell you a little something about Prize Picks. Prize Picks is the best daily fantasy sports app around. And baseball season is in full swing, and there's no better way to get in on the action than with Prize Picks, the best place for daily fantasy sports. The Dodgers are back, and they are undefeated. Best start so far in their history in LA. I am loving every second. Got to make my way out to a game, and with Prize Picks, you can pick more or less on at least 2 player projections, and if you're right, you can win up to 1,000 times your cash. Whether it's strikeouts, RBIs, or first inning runs, Prize Picks keeps every game exciting. I always take advantage of Taco Tuesday, where Prize Picks offers discounts on select player projections for even more value. Download the app today and use the code LOCKEDONNBA to get $50 instantly after you play your first $5 lineup. That's code LOCKEDONNBA for $50 instantly after you play your first $5 lineup. Prize Picks, run your game. All right, so back talking about the Clippers in a must-win game on Wednesday night against the Pelicans, the start of a 5-game homestand against the Pels, 2 straight games and a back-to-back on Friday and Saturday against the Mavericks. I wish I could be there, unfortunately not. And then San Antonio and Houston, back-to-back Tuesday and Wednesday. So we have Sunday and Monday off, and then Tuesday and Wednesday back-to-back against San Antonio and Houston. Honestly, I would just play everybody against San Antonio and just get that win. If we lose to Houston, we lose to Houston. I mean, it's really about Kawhi. I mean, I would like to give James Harden a little rest. I would like to give Ivica Zubac a little rest. We're not really in a position to do that, quite frankly. We kind of need every rep we can get and every win we can get, but we just can't be overly risky with Kawhi. Like, we should not. We're this close to the playoffs with him playing at the highest level he's been at all season. 7 games left. It should really only be 5 more games for Kawhi. Tonight, one of the Dallas games. Honestly, I would give him, well, it depends. What you could do is you could play him Friday and then sit him Saturday and Tuesday. So give him an extended rest and then play him Wednesday, Friday, Sunday against Houston, Sacramento, and Golden State. That's something to consider. But we could just play him the first Dallas game and then rest him in the second one. Then we have him have a Saturday, Sunday and Monday rest before San Antonio, then get another rest day against Houston, and that Thursday after the game against Houston, and then Friday, Sacramento, and then we end the season against Golden State. I mean, that Golden State game, even though we've won the tiebreaker, the implications of that game, it might just come down to that, who gets a higher seed. Because if we have the same record, then that game's going to decide who gets that seed. But let's take a look at the standings right now. So the teams, the East is different. The East, by the way, I just have to say something. When I look at the Eastern Conference and I look at the standings, I see the Wizards at bottom of the conference, which we all expected. I see the Charlotte Hornets, another terrible season, which a lot of people expected. I see the Brooklyn Nets eliminated, which we expected. I see the Raptors not in the play-in, which I expected. But in that middle of the pack is a team that I never thought, even in my wildest imagination, would ever end up being eliminated from playoff contention. 30 games below 500 with 9 games left, and that's the Philadelphia 76ers. It's not even, it is funny. I was going to say it's not funny, but it is funny how horribly this season ended up going for them. Paul George received injections in his left adductor muscle on March 17th and left knee Monday and was ruled out for the remainder of the season. Embiid was ruled out for the season with a knee injury in February. If you look at their stats, Joel Embiid has played only 19 games this entire season, and Paul George only played half of it. He only played half the season, and he averaged 16 points. Could you imagine if we had paid him again? Could you imagine if we had paid him again? That was one of the, honestly, I'm not joking, best decisions in the history of the Clippers to not pay him. Anything, honestly, just to get him, to have Derrick Jones Jr., Kris Dunn, Nico Batum over Paul George, I mean, without a doubt. And then Norman Powell gets to elevate. Zoo gets to elevate. Harden can gladly do more. I mean, we completely won that battle. Paul George, I mean, I don't know if he's ever going to see an all-star game again. We'll see about the playoffs. The Sixers are in one of the worst situations in the league now, which based on what they did. So big props to the Clippers for that. But the thing I was mentioning about the East standings watch is all the teams that cannot make the play-in or the playoffs are all eliminated. The Chicago Bulls are the 10th seed, and they've clinched a play-in berth. And then the Cavaliers are division winners, but they haven't clinched the conference yet. But they're going to clinch the conference very soon. The number 1 seed, a 60-win team in Cleveland this year, who the Clippers beat once, by the way. One of those 15 losses was from us. Celtics, 2nd seed. They're already clinched top 2, so they'll be the 2nd seed. And then you've got the Knicks 3rd. Them and the Pacers are still flirting with 3 and 4. And then Detroit and Milwaukee. Kevin Porter Jr., Glenn Rivers and crew sliding below the Pistons. It's kind of been a disappointing season for them. And then now with the news with Damian Lillard, that really puts them in a tough spot. It's really unfortunate, though, like just basketball fan talking out loud. I mean, obviously I don't want Glenn Rivers to win, but Giannis out that last year, Dame right now, it's like they can't really catch a break right now. But anyway, you got the Pistons, Bucks, Magic, Hawks, and Heat still uncertain about where they're going to finish. The Pacers, Knicks, Celtics, and Cavs have all clinched playoff berths, the top 6 seed. The West, I mean, as usual, it's the wild, wild West. There is no guarantee of anything. The only teams that have been eliminated completely are the New Orleans Pelicans and the Utah Jazz. The San Antonio Spurs can mathematically still make the play-in, but they're going to get eliminated within the next day or two. They've lost 5 straight. Everybody's out. Portland somehow has really overachieved this season. They're not even eliminated yet. 33 and 43. They're still 4 games in the loss column back against Sacramento. Phoenix is the most curious one because they've lost 4 straight games after it looked like, oh, maybe they had turned a little bit of a corner. And now they've lost 4 straight games. But granted, those games were at Milwaukee versus Houston, at Minnesota, and against the Celtics. So those are really good opponents after they came off beating the Bucks, beating the Cavs. So we'll see with them. They have Boston and New York on the road, and then Golden State and OKC. So they have a really hard schedule to end the season. Kevin Durant and Devin Booker not making the play-in would be an absolute disgrace. I don't care how bad their roster is. It would be an absolute disgrace for them to not even make the play-in. But would I be happy about it? I mean, I would literally be dancing on their grave. I mean, it would be hilarious. Absolutely comical for the Suns not to make the play-in. I mean, everybody knows how much I relish seeing the Suns be miserable. Like I cannot. There's a few things I enjoy more in this world. So that's the situation. In my opinion, if you want to really talk, the Blazers aren't a real candidate. It's the Suns, and then you got the Suns to make the plan with the Sacramento Kings who have 39 losses, the Mavericks who have 39 losses. If we were to lose every game, the Clippers, for the remainder of the season, that would make us 43 and 39. The Mavericks would have to win out, and that, I mean, could happen theoretically because they play us twice. But if I had to guess, we are not going to drop lower than 8. The 8th seed is the lowest we can go. The lowest. So Dallas and Sacramento are just flirting with who's going to host that game. And I think the Kings winning would be better for us. But we'll find out very soon because we're playing Dallas twice and then Sacramento again. I have no fear about Sacramento, but there is the level of there's no Kyrie Irving in Dallas, and it's just Anthony Davis. And, I mean, I don't know. They're both a non-factor in my opinion. Like, we should make the playoffs. The top 8 this year should be, in no order, the Thunder, the Rockets, the Nuggets, the Lakers, the Warriors, the Grizzlies, the Wolves, and us. The Sacramento Kings, they traded De'Aaron Fox, so that kind of took them out of it. They basically hit a retool button. They shouldn't be in the playoffs. No one cares to see, no offense, DeRozan, USC legend, Zach LaVine, UCLA player, he's not a legend, in the playoffs. I mean, Sabonis, LaVine, DeRozan, like we just don't, I mean, they're not going to do anything. Dallas would have been fun if they had Kyrie Irving. Otherwise, no one cares. We don't want to see AD just win a game. Like, so forget it. Clippers, Minnesota, Memphis. I think Minnesota's definitely a better team than Memphis. Right now, Memphis is in a state of flux. They're in a state of flux. So let's look at the situation, right? The only team that has clinched is the Thunder. They've clinched the conference. So they're number 1 seed with 63 wins. And from 2 through 13, everyone still has something to play for. But what's realistic, right? What's the highest the Clippers can go? Can we catch the Rockets, who are the 2nd seed right now and just lost to the Lakers last night and they're 49 and 27? I don't think so. That's not feasible in my opinion. So we're not going to get the 2nd seed. Boo-hoo. Denver, 29 losses, 3 in the loss column. Honestly, I don't even think they're out of reach, as crazy as this sounds. I think we just got to keep focusing on winning games. And speaking of the Nuggets, they were playing the Wolves last night. Would have been really helpful. Would have put us back in the 7th seed if we were able to beat them, or if the Nuggets were able to beat them. But no. And the Wolves won a 1-point game, and I believe double overtime. I only saw some clips of it. I didn't watch it. 140 to 139, and now the Wolves are 44 and 32, and we need to win again tonight, and we still don't have the tiebreaker over them. So that would have been a huge game that the Nuggets blew. And again, I'm sorry, I have to say something about it. Former Clipper Russell Westbrook doing exactly the type of things that made me say we should have never gotten him in the first place, because even though I loved him, I embraced him, I wanted him. I felt bad for him when Harden came and he got taken out of the starting lineup, and I didn't want him to be disengaged with the team since we had invested in him. But if it were up to me, we wouldn't have invested him in the first place, because I like Russell Westbrook, but I know that he's erratic. They had the ball on a fast break with the shot clock turned off and winning, and he shot a layup. And of course, how many times we see Russell Westbrook missing layups going full speed? And then he commits a bonehead foul and costs him the game. I mean, a game-costing sequence by Russ. So Paul George and Russell Westbrook. I mean, Russell Westbrook for the most part has been really good this season for the Nuggets. Like, they're a 47 and 29 team. Him and Jokic have been amazing together. He's averaging 13, 5, and 6. He's been good, but there are those moments where if you close with him, he's a problem, and it hurt us last night. It really hurt us last night. We don't have the tiebreaker over Minnesota, so we need to make sure we finish above them if we want to get a higher seed. Now, how important is it to get a higher seed than Minnesota? Depends how you look at things. I don't want to play OKC. And I would love if Houston can get the 2 seed. I was really rooting for them against the Lakers last night. But I don't know. I would love if they got the 2 seed if we get 7, because it feels like we might be in the plan. But then there's this possibility. The Grizzlies have lost 4 straight games. They have the same exact record as the Timberwolves, and we have the tiebreaker over Memphis. So if Memphis drops and is in 7th, we now have the tiebreaker over them, and we become 7th. So they would be 8th. And then we're still behind the Wolves. Just give me any series but the Lakers, honestly. I just don't want to play them in the first round. It's just going to be... I don't mind playing the Lakers in future rounds. I just don't want the first series against... like a first round series to be that ridiculous and kill my blood pressure, and we don't have a full Clipper crowd at Intuit for our first series. I just don't like that possibility of that. And by the way, the Lakers are only 2 games in the loss column back of the second-seeded Rockets, so they could move up to second as well. Could we move? The Nuggets and the Lakers have the same amount of losses, 29. So us overtaking the Nuggets is the same as the Lakers right now. I personally, I think we could, based on this last stretch of us having an easier schedule, could finish up to third. I don't see us being second by any means, but third maybe if everything goes right. But I mainly see us being between 5 and 8. I think that's and if we can avoid that play-in, it's very important. Now, here's a question. I also don't like our matchup with the Lakers very much. I don't, especially the way Harden's played in those games. But we did not play them with Norm. Like, it's a whole thing. But I had to say this. I would say Thunder and Lakers, we can avoid them. That'd be nice. What's more important, though? I guess I'll ask the comment section. Avoiding the play-in or avoiding the Thunder or the Lakers in the first round? Because that's a tough one. You're going to have to answer in the comment section. But coming up, we're going to talk about the Kris Dunn, Derrick Jones Jr. conversation. And yeah, my moral of the story is that every game matters and the standings are so close. I really do believe, though, that Memphis will finish below us. The way it's trending, they're just fired their coach so late in the season. I think Memphis ends up in that play-in, probably with that 8th seed after all this. And then 7, 6, and 5 most likely comes down to us, the Warriors, and the Wolves. So it'll be an amazing race. But coming up, let's talk about Derrick Jones Jr. and Kris Dunn. I got to tell you a little something about Monarch money. You see, ever check your bank account and wonder where all my money went? Between dining out, online shopping, and entertainment, it's easy to lose track. That's where Monarch Money comes in. Your personal CFO giving you full visibility and control over your finances. Monarch Money isn't just a budgeting app. It's a complete financial command center. You can track all your accounts, investments, and spending in one place, so you stop just managing your money and start building wealth. Instead of juggling multiple apps, you can use Monarch to check your finances, track spending, and even plan long-term goals. Take control of your finances with Monarch Money. Use code LOCKEDONNBA at monarchmoney.com for 50% off your first year. That's monarchmoney.com, code LOCKEDONNBA for half off your first year. All right, so Kris Dunn and Derrick Jones Jr. There's been a recent talk about who should start in the playoffs and all that. And I chimed in saying, I think we should go back to DJ. I think he's better. Well, here's the thing. I forgot one of my own points, and it was reminded to me with a tweet from Justin Russo, one of our beat writers. And I said this before on the show at times. The thing about starting Derrick, and he started 53 games out of 70 this year. And by the way, having Derrick Jones Jr. for 70 games, if he can play the last 7 at 77 games, I mean, that's huge. It's part of the biggest reason why we have such a good record. Kris Dunn, 67 games, right? Started 51 of them. So he started 2 less than Derrick. And here's the thing. Kris Dunn, when he starts and Derrick comes off the bench, that pairs Derrick with the likes of Bogey, Ben Simmons, and Amir Coffey consistently, and Nico. Let's say you replace Derrick with Kris Dunn. Now you have a little bit of a spacing issue. Kris Dunn and Ben Simmons. You still have Bogey there to create. But you can't then play Zoo with those guys. You cannot play Zoo. You have to go small with Ben Simmons and Kris Dunn. And I think you could do that if you surround him with a Nico, a Kawhi, and a Bogey. But it's something to consider that the spacing in that second unit would not be great with Kris Dunn and Ben Simmons together. And also, Kris Dunn gives James Harden some relief with the ball in his hands, but I do think having Kawhi there and Zoo feeding him more, like, that could do that part. Kris Dunn, like, I love Kris Dunn, but he looks uncomfortable even bringing up the ball sometimes. Like, he'll just turn it over. He had one last game. But that's the thing. Now, the counter to that is, okay, who cares? Let's just play Kris Dunn and Ben Simmons, test it out. Just don't play them with Zoo. And then when Zoo comes back in the game, you take Ben out. That's a thing. Let me know what you guys think of that. Because with Bogey and Nico, you do, and Amir, when he's back, if he does come back, you have the spacing, right? If you want to go small. Nico, Ben Simmons out there. You still have Kris Dunn who can really guard. And then Amir and Bogey. But you can't play all 5 of those guys at once. That's the thing, because there's not enough offense there. Bogey, Ben Simmons, Kris Dunn, Amir, and Nico. You're basically putting all your eggs in the Bogey basket to create every shot down the floor. That's not really, a thing. It's not going to happen. So if you want to go 9 deep, let's see, yeah. Derrick, Kris, Ben, Bogey, Nico, Amir. Yeah, you're essentially 10 deep because then you're starting the big 4 plus Derrick. So if you want to go 10 deep, you actually have to, honestly, if they want to go, wow, it's tough. If they want to always stagger and have one or two of the big 4 in the game, you probably can't go 10 deep. And that would be Amir Coffey, I think, is the odd guy out there. Either him or Ben Simmons. So these are all things to consider. Because I don't think Eubanks should get playoff minutes like that at all. So what would be our rotation? I think maybe next episode, or next episode where I'm talking and it's not a post-game episode, I can talk about what our rotation should be. Like non-matchup dependent, like what our rotation should be in the playoffs. I'll come up with something. But you can follow me on Twitter and Instagram at DimeDropperPod. Subscribe to my own YouTube channel, Dime Dropper, for even more LA Clipper and LA sports content. Will definitely be a vlog of the game on Thursday after all. By the way, if you see me at the game, please holler at me. If you want to be in the video and share your thoughts on this season, going into the playoffs, how Kawhi is doing, please, by all means, let me know. And, of course, you can follow me on Twitter and Instagram at DimeDropperPod. And, of course, subscribe on all platforms. I see that we're almost just a little over 200 subscribers away from 7K. I want to hit that before the playoffs, ladies and gentlemen, because we're going to be in them. I can promise you that. The age-old proverb continues. Go Clippers.